The Coach Curl podcast is brought to you by Think and Grow Business, the home of the Think and Grow Business Mastermind. If you're serious about growing your business, get serious and join a mastermind group today. Find out more at thinkandgrowbusiness.com.au.
Hey there, it's Tony here, and welcome to the Coach Curl podcast, episode 117. Today we're talking about what makes a great leader. Let's look at calling.
Way to go. Keep it going. Good job, guys. All right, Paul. I see you. Finish on. Coach Cole. Great job, guys.
Coach Cole, we love you.
Hey there, and welcome to episode 117 of the Coach Cole podcast. Today, what makes a great leader? Let's look at calling. And calling can often be described as the purpose that we have with our leadership. So why am I doing this? Often we get questions. We get questions from our listeners. We get questions from people that I coach, questions from organizations that we deal with. And one of the most common questions is this concept of what makes a great leader. And I mean, there are there's multiple leadership models out there. There's multiple of experts out there that define that question. I have my own beliefs. I have my own model. It's called the anatomy of the leader. And hence the reason why I'm sharing some of that through this podcast series. So what makes a great leader? Let's look at calling. So there's a huge difference between what I would call a leader that has purpose, a leader that has calling, to a leader that's in it for a career or for themselves. And this is truly where it really does make a difference, because in many ways, you can almost describe it that management of a business or a business, growing a business is a career, leadership is a calling. And when we think back on historical figures and we think about those people that truly made a positive impact to the world, you can see that they had a reason, they had a calling, they had a purpose. So we need to then look at that into respect of what does that look like for people that do have a career and do have become management. How can we define this concept of calling and put it into something that's usable? Because one of the things that I know is that when leaders that have a purpose, or anyone that has a purpose, it actually fuels motivation for them to achieve something. And in many ways, purpose or calling fuels leadership. And companies that have the better leadership, or businesses that have the better leadership, are the ones that are more likely to succeed. So what does it look like? What does it actually look like? And this is where a lot of people get stuck. A lot of people get stuck trying to define this concept of purpose. People will get stuck trying to define the concept of why. But really, we can simplify this as much as possible to try and create a pretty clear picture of what it is. Now, when we think about leadership as a calling, it's about passion for what it is that we do, and passion for the people and the organization in which we serve. So if we start to think about it like that, it comes back to things like conviction. It comes back to things like courage. And when you're a leader with conviction and when you're a leader with courage, you become, in many respects, a leader that people can trust. So, because people within an organization will always be looking and working harder for the person or the leader that they can trust than delivering the bare minimum for a leader that they don't trust or mistrust. And we know that from the stats that we see, almost 63% of people have mistrust in CEOs, mistrust in the senior executives of businesses and organizations. 63%. And what we're trying to do with the leadership model, the anatomy of a leader, is to create leaders that people want to follow, as opposed to leaders that they have to follow. Because when people want to follow you, it's because you are leading them from a place of authenticity. You're leading them with a clear purpose to make things better. And you're leading them with a courage and a conviction to understand, and which enables you to build trust. And when we think about where all this starts from, where it all starts from, it's really about a really deep, clear understanding of who you are and what it is that you bring. So a leader that has got a firm foundation around values, beliefs, and ethics, and working for a business or an organization that has a firm belief in values, beliefs, and ethics, you will see a clear alignment, and you'll see a leader that has purpose, that has energy, that has focus in and around what it is that they're doing to serve their team, their people, the organization, the customers, the clients. So they've got a clear energy around their purpose. They've got a clear energy around their calling. So the first thing that you should do is to really deeply understand what it is that you can bring. Now, when I mentioned before, some people have a real misunderstanding about the concepts of purpose and why. It really is the case, because I see so many businesses and business owners have gone to a workshop around purpose, or someone has brought the concept of why into why you're doing business, and what is it, and what is that, and how do you define it? And it almost becomes a competition in some respects to have the biggest why, or the biggest purpose, or the biggest reason for doing what it is that you do. And the reality is, the purpose, calling, or finding your why is all personal. It's all personal. It's all about you. And it's all about you internally more than anything else. So I see businesses out there that will tell me that their why is to build an orphanage in some far-flung country of the world, because that's their purpose in life, and that's the reason why they're in business. And that's great. That's great if that's truly your purpose and that's truly why you're here. And we see a lot of businesses out there doing some great social work, some fantastic social enterprises are doing exactly that. But you could also have a purpose of bringing better leadership into an organization. You could also have a purpose of working for an enterprise that you've admired and respected for a long time, that you believe is doing good in the world. So it's not this case that the bigger purpose wins. It's about what is the motivation within you for doing what it is that you do. And because a leader with calling has convictions, and to have convictions, you need to have beliefs, thoughts, and values. And they lead to behaviors which support your convictions. So when we talk about calling as a leadership, what makes a great leader, that's the starting point. That is the starting point of understanding what that is and how we bring that in and how we bring that to life. Because people with passion, people with conviction, people with courage will have a real clear focus on what it is that they do and how they're making things better for their business, their team, their staff, their clients, their stakeholders. That's what we talk about when we talk about leaders with calling, leaders with purpose, leaders that are authentic. And you know what? When people have a calling, when people have a purpose in what it is that they're doing, as well as providing focus, and as we know, focus generates feelings and motivation. If we have a clear focus on something, we're motivated to achieve that. But leaders with calling and leaders that have that strong conviction around who they are, and they're working with a business or an organization that is clearly aligned with that, they develop resilience far quicker, far stronger than other leaders can. Because of that convictions that they've got in their calling, their purpose, and where they're heading and what that brings to them, that internal motivation just helps breed a stronger, resilient leader. So, what makes a great leader? One aspect of it is certainly calling. So, and it all aligns. So we've been working through the core of a leader at the moment. And for this episode and the two that were previous, we worked through the core of the leader. And what the core of the leader is the foundation around that leadership. It's the foundation, it's the strength, it's the starting point, it's the solid structure that supports the leader. So we've talked about character, we've talked about credibility, and the final C in the core is calling. So when you have a strong call, you've got a strong character, you've got credibility for what it is that you bring, and you've got a strong and authentic purpose or calling. And people that have a calling inspire and motivate other people, which is why they are great leaders. People that have a calling will certainly be able to develop some great leadership. So I hope that has helped you in your quest to become a better leader, a better manager, a better person, because when you develop leadership skills, it helps you in everything that's going on within your life. So if you can find a calling or a purpose in what it is that you can bring, and it's authentic and true to yourself, you will find a way and you will continue to develop to be a great leader. Hey, next week I'm going to start working through the service heart of the anatomy of the leader. But before I do, just a big shout out to our sponsor at Think and Grow Business, personal, professional and business growth. It's all available at Think and Grow Business, where they're improving the performance of people in business. You can check them out at thinkandgrowbusiness.com, and they're available to support and help you become better leaders, better people, and run a better business. Don't forget, I have written a book, and there will be another one coming out, hopefully this year. But the book that's out there is a book called Seriously Simple Stuff to Get You Stuck. It's a selection of stories, sayings, and that simplify life. That they've got a bit of a story there, and it simplifies, and how you can simplify your life and make it simpler, stronger, braver, and wiser. That's what the book is all about. When you simplify life, you purify life, you remove some of that toxins and toxicity that sits within everyone's life. Available at all good online bookstores, and also maybe at some that are not so good. But you can also pick it up at tonycurl.com.au. That's my author's page. An instant digital download just for you. Don't forget, 20% of every book sold supports the great work that's being done at Carter's Cause, who are raising funds and awareness of the great work that Heart Kids do here in Australia. So where they support the families and the kids born with congenital heart disease. Don't forget our new supporting sponsor. It's Totally Builderall. They're a totally integrated marketing system, landing pages, websites, chatbots, mailing lists, the webinars, video makers, image makers. The list is just endless of almost endless. I can't say endless because it's not, and it does end. But Totally Builderall, check it out at Totally Builderall, 7-day free trial. Available at totallybuilderall.com. Once again, the notes and the link will be in the description. Thanks for listening. Thanks for your feedback. Thanks for liking, sharing, and the reviews. It really does help us get found by everyone that needs to hear our particular podcast. Don't forget, wherever you are, you're standing, you're stronger, you're braver, you're wiser, and don't forget to live life by the golden rule. Just don't be an arsehole. I'll see you next week.